Seed value is 0. World generation is random. Does doesn't matter as far as rules go. Yeah, so I'm doing a diplomacy percent run. This is Endless Legend. So for this run, I'm going to be running as Drakken. This is up here. Tiny world size, 4 empires, fast game speed. So all of that is just to get a diplomacy victory. You need to have a certain amount of points, and though you need less points if you are on a smaller world or a faster game size or game speed. So, I think the sound is weird. There we go. Okay. Is this working? Sorry about this. One second. Okay, that's looking better. Sorry about that. Alright. So I'll go over some of the strategies involved in this and what I'm doing different. Time does not start until the first unit gets the first command, so you have time to look around here and plan things out. Make sure this is a good seed. Yeah, this is looking really good. Okay, so time start. So previously, I had a bit of a... I was a bit mistaken on some of the game mechanics for diplomacy. There's this this resource called influence in this game, and that is what you use to communicate and make deals with other empires, etc. I was under the impression that that was what you need. You needed a certain amount of that to win a diplomacy victory. However, I came to the realization that it is actually a completely separate stat that's hidden, called diplomacy points. And you'll see these other empires over here. I can see them because I'm playing Drakken. That's one of the racial bonuses. Yeah, so you get these points passively anytime, every turn, for empires that you have any relation to. So you get more depending on the better relations from like Unknown or Cold War, which is what they're in now by default, to peace, and then eventually in an alliance you get more. Yeah, so this is good. However, there are certain technologies that gate making peace, like a peace treaty or an alliance between different civs, or whatever you want to call them in this game. And so rather than focusing on accruing influence, it's actually far more effective to focus instead on accruing technology. So all of these, this is a really good starting position actually. All of these technologies are are they're what we want, essentially. Because the faster we get to those that alliance, the faster we win the game, and that's the whole point, isn't it? Yeah, so the beginning of this is going to be pretty simple, as well as the end. It's really the mid-game that matters with your turn orders and such. We actually need a bit more. And then we'll get a settler, and that. Yes. Okay. I'm going to set these. So we're mainly focusing on technology upgrades. Oh no, we need this. Ugh, I messed that up. And then, yeah. Anything that boosts our research is what we want to be focusing on initially, because that is how we get peace. And another reason that you play Drakken in this is that you can spend influence, which we actually don't have enough of, but that's normal, to force someone else to peace with you. Otherwise, you have to make deals with them, trade with them. It's very inefficient resource-wise, because influence, that's the only thing that we use it for. So yeah, we're just going to be focusing on research here. We want to get more cities out. Hopefully there's four regions in this continent. If there's only 3, that's normal. It's pretty rare from what I've seen to have 3, or 4 rather. But that would be ideal. And we want to find somewhere with a lot of research output and a decent amount of influence, because right now we are kind of bad on influence, as well as the other stuff is good. Having production, dust, any of that is very good, but not as central to our general strategy here. So yeah, the majority of this is just making sure these guys are pacified with your main hero. I don't actually... There's no real need to build other... any other units, because the way we set up the initial... Oh, this is really good. The way we set up the initial continent thing is that they're never going to really come over to our continent. We're gonna win the game far before they have the means to do that. So the only other threat are these small villages, and those don't pose a threat really. Our hero and the starting units are far more than enough to deal with them. Yeah, no, we want that influence. Oh no. Yeah, we want that influence. Use these resources. Yeah, this is going pretty good. This is a pretty solid start, honestly. We have all those other things. Super don't care about them. So all the quest stuff, it really applies just to other victory conditions, and it's pretty interesting for like casual runs and stuff, because it gives you some insight into the different factions and stuff like that. However, we don't really care. They give us some bonuses, but there's no real reason to work towards them. So if we get them, awesome. If we don't, who cares? We're actually gonna, after we placate all of these minor factions and explore for all the ruins, we're gonna move our hero to our main town, because they'll make a bit more influence just passively for us, and that means that we don't have to really do anything to look for influence at that point, because we're going to have far more than we need. Which are already getting to that point, but even more so. So it looks like this is only going to be 3 continents, unless there's one over here, which would be pretty unlikely. And I think in 2 more turns, I'll be able to force peace on all 3 of the alliances, because I'm pretty sure one of them ran out. Okay, so that's not really normal, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, so this game has a pretty useful auto fight mechanic. The fighting in this game is actually pretty interesting, and the auto fight is pretty bad as far as actual combat goes. However, it's really quick compared to a game like Civ, where you have a lot of animations, and even like the settings to turn off animations still are frustrating. I realize I haven't been doing my splits, so I apologize for that. However, I'm not incredibly concerned, it's all kind of arbitrary, if we're being honest. I just want to... Okay, yeah, so that's where we get... Okay, yeah. Then no, we don't want that. Okay. Oh, so our piece did not run out, which is good. Normally it does when we force piece like that. Okay, so now we're accruing like triple what we were before. Diplomacy points, and again, there's no way to actually see those. It's just a hidden counter that goes up. At certain points, it'll tell you whenever you're getting close to victory. It'll warn you. However, there's really no... It goes up automatically. If you're doing what you are supposed to, it doesn't matter. So we want to be making sure that we're getting these resources. They're pretty important. These emeralds are less important, so I actually don't want that. Titanium, that's what I was looking for. Okay. Those let us make higher level buildings, and more importantly, higher level science facilities, which are central to this entire concept, really. So yeah, if we can buy stuff just immediately, that's generally what we want to do. It's a lot faster. Oh, this is such a good area. That's perfect. This is honestly a very, very lucky start. The biggest downside I found to this game is that a lot of the... It just comes down to where your starting location is, and you can change that with some of the in-game settings. So it's not very grindy in that way. However, it does get a little annoying if you just have to keep restarting to get a good start, good starting location. So yeah, there's a lot more minor faction people that wandering around than I would like. However, they're not really a threat. They're just a bit annoying. Okay, that's good. Our production is pretty low, which is not ideal. However, it doesn't really matter. Most of the buildings we can just afford to buy with dust, which is this like gold currency up here. And that's... It makes it so that production is pretty unimportant as long as you have dust or production. You don't really need both, especially not in a run like this. In the actual game, it's a bit more important. However, we don't care about that. Okay, no, so we're doing good diplomatically. I really don't like having all these minor factions running around. It makes the turns longer because they have to do all the animations for that, and I don't believe... I've checked the settings a few times. I don't believe there's any way to really make that not happen. So it just becomes a bit annoying. So now we can just really focus. I'm moving all of my population from food. We don't care about them growing anymore, just to science. So now we're going to be getting most of these science one per turn. So it's all pretty much downhill from here. I am making another city. It shouldn't matter, in all honesty. Because by the end of the game, you're just getting... You don't really care about what any of your buildings are doing. You can't have any relationships higher than an alliance. And past some endgame technologies that we don't need to bother with, there's no way to make your diplomacy points go up. We just can't really get to that far in a speedrun. There's no way to get to the end of that tree quickly enough. So it really just comes down to making the turns end really quickly and waiting until those diplomacy points roll. So I do have another city though. Yeah. Just in case it's spawned. So yeah, we just wanna... Oh, I see the problem. I cannot afford that. Yeah, so later game buildings get pretty pricey. However, we are one more tick off of having... Oh, this is a bad thing. Okay, well, I shouldn't have done that. That was a problem. Okay. Well, not making that city. That's pretty unfortunate. It doesn't really matter. Again, we're just waiting 2 turns, and then there's nothing we can do past that to make it go faster. So, on the research queue... Oh, I'm missing 1. Okay. So, 1 turn off. Okay. Yeah, so 3 turns off the hospitality down. That allows us to make alliances. We have a decent amount of influence. At that point, we'll probably just swap all of our stuff into influence because science no longer matters. Nothing really matters other than just getting those points real quick. I'll actually transfer her over to here. I can actually level her up now because before it didn't matter. Yeah, this one. So we're making almost double influence, and now we're going to be making more. So let's. Okay. And that is about all there is to it. It's just gonna... There's some micromanaging. Where am I? Don't have here. There's a little bit of micromanaging that I'm gonna have to do just within my cities, trying not to lose too much time with turns. Again, these probably can't kill these things. I don't super care, in all honesty. However, just getting rid of some sort of... Either way, it'll make it more efficient, because if I have less vision, there's less of a chance for me to see them moving, and that's all I care about. I don't actually care about them dying, it's just the more things that have to move. Like that, these guys are particularly slow. Oh, what am I saying? It doesn't actually matter at this point. It matters early on, but since we have global vision now, it actually doesn't matter at all. So yeah, there's nothing to do at this point. Other than... Wait. 4... What do we got? Let me see. Actually, keep doing this. Okay, it does not matter. I honestly do really enjoy running this game, though. It's pretty calming. It just comes down, yeah. So we're getting closer to winning. It's pretty calming as far as speedruns go. The game itself is just pretty chill. I also like that it's a bit more fleshed out in what you have to do versus something like Civ 5, which is notoriously quick. Still pretty funny for Civ 5, but not exactly enjoyable to run, in my opinion. I do want to try a quest percent run for this game, because I think that could be pretty interesting. That would definitely, that and Wonder Victory would require the most actual playing of the game. This definitely, I did a Supremacy run previously, which was pretty short. It's just getting a certain amount of units to kill an enemy base, and you set them to cultists because they can't expand, so you don't have to worry about that, and it's pretty consistent. But it's a bit more interactive than this. It's a bit more actiony because you actually do have to control a couple of those fights. Because the AI just won't do what you want. But yeah, this is a pretty enjoyable run. It looks like I'm gonna get probably 2 minutes off of my previous time, which could still get improved a bit. But this is definitely a bit better. What turn is it? 87. Okay. Yeah, so this is definitely faster turn-wise. Not that that matters, really. That'll do it. Okay. Okay, so I lost out on like 2 turns worth of diplomacy there. Yeah. Wait. Okay, yeah, that doesn't matter. So I lost out on like 2 turns of diplomacy there. Doesn't really matter. But that's okay. Something interesting about this run, compared to the win condition of it, compared to, okay, yeah, so that was all of us being very close to winning, which is what I was going to mention. This actually, if you do this run correctly, everyone in the game will win, because anytime you win with someone that you are in alliance with, that victory is shared. And since everyone in the game is in an alliance, everyone wins at once whenever the player wins. Which is a bit funny, because we're all still technically at this point of the game competing with each other, like, however, only, like, there's no way for a single one of us to win without breaking alliance. There. Cool. So that's several... Oh. Okay, well... 4 seconds off, but still, that's the game, and that's victory. You can go to score screen. It's pretty... What you say there? Research, definitely. So, definitely much faster going a research build versus... influence build, although still a lot more influence, you can tell whenever I switched over my civs. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll definitely be doing more of these in the future. I want to do a quest run, possibly some others, maybe Wonder, although that's pretty similar, so I might not do that. But yeah, thanks guys.